Hey guys, welcome back to the Not Only Carrots cooking show. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious vegan big breakfast. Let's get started. Okay guys, to get started you are going to need 12 large button mushrooms sliced thickly, 4 large ripe tomatoes. You'll also need 4 cups of tightly packed baby spinach leaves, and 1 small block of tofu, which is 375 grams. It's firm tofu, and my husband will magically make the American conversions come up here. Okay, for your cooking flavors, we will be using rice bran oil or an equivalent neutral flavored oil, and extra virgin olive oil, some minced garlic, some regular salt, and also some Bragg's liquid amino acids. They're similar to soy sauce, but have a slightly different flavor, and they're not fermented, which is kind of cool. For anyone who wants to leave out the oil, you can do that and use water in its place, but it will of course change the flavor. To begin with, we will need a large pan, medium high, and we'll start with our mushrooms. Okay, I'm going to use some olive oil with those. Roughly a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of that in your pan. Heat the oil first. Then get your mushrooms, tip them in, and a tip with mushrooms is you want to make sure your heat is high enough so they don't start to saute in their own juices, because they actually do release a lot of water when you cook them. So keep that pan medium high. All right, add along to that a couple of teaspoons of minced garlic, and you can use garlic that you have chopped up yourself at home, but I find I just don't have the time at the moment. So a couple of teaspoons of that in with your mushrooms. I'm going to turn my temperature up a bit more. They're just not hot enough. And make sure you stir that garlic in all the way around. Cover up your mushrooms. Another tip with mushrooms is don't leave them just sitting in the oil, because only the ones that are touching the oil will get oil in them, and the rest of them will miss out. They absorb the oil like that. So it can even be handy to put the mushrooms in and then drizzle the oil over the top. But my pan, it works fine, but keep an eye on that. Okay, now the yummy liquid amino acids, we just call it Bragg's in our house. It comes out as a little drizzle, so just a light drizzle over the top of those. Don't go too crazy because it is salty. And stir it through. You don't need to add salt as well, because the aminos, the Bragg's, is salty already. Now I like to cook the mushrooms until they are a lovely brown, have that brown edge on them, but not much longer than that, because they still have that lovely texture if you don't overcook them. And that's what I love about this particular vegan big delicious breakfast, is that it does have a lot of meaty textures, so that if you want to serve this to someone who is not vegan, they're going to get that chewiness which people enjoy when they eat meat, because meat's quite chewy. And I found for myself, once I did switch over from being a meat eater to being a vegetarian, that having mushrooms helped me a lot, because it had that really nice chewy texture. Very good. I'm going to crank it up even a little bit further. So this is actually up to a really high heat now, just to try and evaporate away that liquid. Okay, looking good. I'm just moving them around in the pan to make sure that every single mushroom is on the bottom of the pan, and that the top ones aren't missing out from the heat. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to leave it for a couple more minutes just to brown up the edges. Okay guys, those mushrooms look good to me. I'm going to pop them back in the bowl. A little tip, if you're going to be preparing this meal and perhaps you've just got the one pan like I'm using today, is use a little saucer or a small plate to cover the top of your bowls, and that way it'll stay warm for longer. But today I'm going to make it look pretty for the cooking show, so I'll just put it down there. All right, we're going to leave our pan on this high heat. We're now going to do our tofu. This time I'm going to be using our rice bran oil. Once again, a couple tablespoons on the bottom of the pan. Make sure it's spread evenly around. And then gently lay down each of your strips, a little at a time. They're nice and thick. Ouch! And the oil is hot and very ouchy. Ouch, especially when you put your finger in it. Don't cook fingers. Fingers are not vegan. Don't do that. All right, some of the strips broke, but that's fine. They still taste good. All right, lay them all down in your pan. I wonder if I'll fit them all. Let's see. Ouch. Maybe I need to do a video on how not to injure yourself in a vegan kitchen. The video will say, ask someone else because I can't do it. All right, yay, I fitted them all. Woo, okay. That's very easy. All the tofu is in and every piece has its own space. Now, once again, grab your brags. Now, just as I mentioned before, don't be tempted to go too crazy with the brags. It is salty, just a little drizzle over the top. Make sure each piece has a bit of aminos on it. It's easy to miss a piece when you're drizzling. You don't want some poor soul to end up with some bland bit of tofu, because tofu doesn't have a lot of flavour, so it will absorb whatever you put onto it. I've got my heat, by the way, on maximum, so it's on really hot, which is what I want to do. Once these get to a lovely golden, crispy colour on the underside, we'll then flip it and get it on the other side too. Now, tofu, because it absorbs flavours or whatever is around it, it's quite a versatile little thing. When we first became vegetarian, I had no idea about tofu or what it was or what it tasted like, and we had some bad experiences with it. We'd cook it, it was really rubbery, and not rubbery like Japanese, rubbery, very rubbery. No, not nice, lovely, rubbery, bad rubbery, like break your teeth rubbery. Don't do that. So I am actually going to be doing an episode later on to give some ideas of different types of tofu and what you could use each of them for, and how to make tofu not taste disgusting. Maybe I should call it that. How not to make tofu taste disgusting. And yeah, so that will be coming, and this is one of the ways to make it not taste disgusting. All right, they're looking good. See a nice golden brown underneath there. I'm going to flip them all over. You can even, oh wow, I did a double flip. Woo, let's do it again. Oh, those ones could have stayed longer. The outer ones seem to be cooking faster. Very good. Now, some people even make fake bacon, vegan tofu bacon, very similarly to this, just with slightly different flavourings. So if you get excited, that one just doesn't want to turn. Yeah, it's got, if you cook it really thinly, it actually gets that bacon texture. So if you want thin and crispy, just do that, and yeah, pretty cool. I think I needed tongs. Oh well. Flipper it is. There we go. Now, as you can see with that tofu, they are thick slices, but they're really consistent slices. And the way you achieve that is actually using a mandolin or a V-slicer. I have an episode where I explain some handy kitchen gadgets, the kitchen tools that make vegan cooking easy, and a mandolin is one of those things. I cannot recommend it any more than I can recommend it. It's just so good. They're so good. I did that with the tomatoes. You can do it with your mushrooms. It just helps you to get a really consistent slice, and it's just super fast. If you're just in a rush or you've got a lot of people to cook for, it just makes things a lot easier. And I'm going to check these outside ones because they are cooking quickly. Yep, they're good to go. Now, unfortunately, with tofu, with this particular one anyway, we have to eat it this meal. Otherwise, it can be a bit tough if you reheat it. Other tofu meals, when the tofu is in a sauce, they are okay and they can reheat well. But this particular meal, the tofu gets tough. So you're forced to eat it all in one go. Oh, how dreadful. Not dreadful, it's awesome, it's so yummy. Okay, These little guys need a little bit longer. I'm going to leave them on the outside. You look good. What about you? You look like you need a bit more. And you're done. All right, these little ones are going to have a little bit longer. Oh, that's a nice crispy one. Ah! Get on there. Same trick with your tofu. Cover it up with a bowl if it's on a plate, or with a plate if it's in a bowl. And that will keep it nice and warm so that you don't lose the heat while you wait for everything else to cook. Another trick is get a few pans going at once on the stove. Who said you only have to cook with one pan when you cook? And don't think, I want to save time washing up. It's like, well, you know, at the same time, don't want to waste time cooking. So if you can cook faster, then it works out really well. All right, these are all good now. Oh, I love this. These tofu strips are so good. A friend of mine taught me about this years and years ago, and it was just the easiest recipe. Okay, the tofu's done. Now we are going to do our spinach. I'm going to throw that in. And I'm going to turn that heat down a bit for these ones. Going to bring them down to medium-high. And we'll add a little bit of, what will we use? A little bit of olive oil. No, rice bran oil. Change my mind. A little bit of rice bran oil on these ones. Not too much. Maybe 1 tablespoon or even a half. Stir that through. And we're going to add 1 heaped teaspoon of garlic. It's very heaped. So it's probably equal to two normal ones. We like a lot of garlic. Stir it through. And once again, a little drizzle of your Bragg's aminos. If you're not really keen on Bragg's, that's fine. You can use salt. You can try soy sauce out. That's the fun thing with a lot of these ingredients, is that it just depends on the day, what you feel like. You can add whatever you feel like. It still tastes good. Add a bit of variety. Now, as you can see, spinach cooks really quickly. It's wilted already. We're just going to leave it cook a little bit longer. Okay, and as you can see, it does, I'll turn it up a little bit higher. Because it wilts, you don't need to be too worried when you see that this bowl was full. I'll show you how much it came down to. And there's no reason why you couldn't double the amount if you wanted to have extra spinach on the side, because, as I say, it cooks down, reduces is the correct term, really quickly and really easily. All right, so that's enough for that. I'm going to turn that temperature down. We'll get that out of there. There we go. So see, it reduces down really, really well. And our last ingredient is our tomatoes, the 4 large tomatoes. Crank that one up. You want that on high. Tomatoes will release a lot of moisture because they are full of water. So spread them out. Make sure they're all on the bottom. Now, we've had requests, guys, for people who want to have meals that are fast to cook. And if you want to do this meal even faster than it already is, you can substitute tin tomatoes in place of these hand sliced ones. So just open the tin, warm it up. You can do it in the microwave for a minute in a bowl with a lid on it. Otherwise, just in your pan for a few minutes. Going to turn that up. Oh, it's already up. And that's it. So very easy. Tin tomatoes do have a little bit of salt in them already, so you may or may not need to add extra salt. Just add it to taste. But I will, with the tomatoes, just sprinkle a little bit of salt over the top because it helps to release the moisture and adds a little bit of flavour in there. Now, we have some fresh basil growing in our garden, and that's great to sprinkle on top if you want to do that on top of your tomatoes as well, or a bit of dried will work just as well. Today I want to keep it simple and just have the plain tomatoes with the salt. And to get them cooking faster, just use a lid on top of your pan. Make sure the steam isn't getting out. I hacked my lid and put blue tack on there. So my steam will stay in much better than it will. I'm going to leave this for a few minutes, guys. The tomatoes, out of everything, take the longest, up to about 5 minutes on that high heat. Make sure you come back and that you're flipping them over once they're brown on the bottom. They can catch and have a little bit of a burnt edge, but it still doesn't really taste bad if it has that anyway. But yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes. The tomato is ready. I'll take the lid off. And they are successfully cooked and mushified. That's what you want. Don't freak out when they fall apart. They're meant to fall apart. I was just thinking, I'm not going to put it back in my bowl. I'm going to now serve out our delicious vegan big breakfast of yumminess. And I have been suggested by my husband that I serve it out 2 different ways. One, the gourmet way, the gourmet, as we like to say in our family. And the other way, the normal, how you'd actually probably eat it way. So I'll do the pretty way last, and I'll do the normal way first. All right, start by toasting some stone ground whole wheat bread. Recipe up here, guys. Did it with my cute little girls. It's really fun. Check it out. Vegan mayonnaise, so dairy-free mayonnaise on top of that. You're just gonna get a scoop of the tomato and chuck it on top. That's it. Then bash your garlic tin on the way past. Grab some spinach, pop it on the side. Use your fingers. Remember, this is the normal way. Put some tofu on there. I was going to use my fingers for the mushrooms, but I bet not. And then just throw some mushies on there. And there you go. That's the normal way. Just plop it on and eat it as is. You may even like to use a bit of tomato sauce on your tofu if you feel like it in the normal way. But if we go gourmet now, I'll get my tongs. Okay, let's go. The gourmet way, take your bread and slice it at an angle, but slightly off. So it's not a perfect triangle. It's like a fat end and a skinny end. Makes it look more cafe-like. Then use your flipper and speak with a posh accent. It's the only way. And gently place your tomato near your bread, but not on it because you don't want your bread getting sloppy. And don't drip it on the plate like I did. Okay, tongs. Let the drips go in the bowl. Spread that on there. Leave it to the side. And tongs for the gourmet. Fan your tofu delicately along the edge. Not the broken bits. It's a gourmet meal, it can't look broken. And once again, tongs. Where do we put the mushrooms? In the middle, in the center of our plate. And here we are. I'll just do that. You didn't see me do that. All right, here we are. This is the gourmet way. Voila. So there you are. It's very easy to make a delicious vegan big Aussie breakfast. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make it. We are going to enjoy eating it. So I hope you enjoy eating it too. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And leave a comment below and let me know what you like to cook for your breakfasts. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.